Hey, everyone. It's Blockchain Bernie here. This is our live AMA. And I think, it should be the fourth or fifth or so. But we had kind of a hiatus here, and it's been, a few months since we had the last live AMA. So, happy to see you guys in here. And before we start with the live AMA session, let me give a quick update on what happened. In the meantime, so part of the Xandeum team went up to Salt Lake City for a thing that's called the Mountain DAO, right? So Mountain DAO is a big month-long crypto convention, and it used to be in previous years for many blockchains, and it seems like Solana captured the whole thing for themselves. So it was only Solana, or it is only Solana. It's just for the whole month of February, and it's happening there. And so we were there with four guys. So if you saw a bunch of good-looking guys in Salt Lake City running around, it was probably us. So here we are. So give them a big round of applause. We were happy that Felix was there, Brad was there, and we have Anthony there standing beside me. I'm going to give a little bit more info about Anthony in the future. And so we found a lot of Solana guys there. We met with them. We met with Tim Garcia from the Solana Foundation. We met with possible investors there. We met with OtterSec that can do audits, and it was really a great thing. So we were there for 2 days. It was really, really helpful. We also met with the team there and just did a checkpoint on where we are with developing the Xan miner, with getting the PNodes out, and we will start. We have a wait list, and we will start selling the PNodes really, really soon. We should be, and that came out of that a meeting in Salt Lake City. By late March, early April, roughly, we should be able to have a version of the Xan miner out there that can really be run on the actual PNodes, so that the PNodes can actually be utilized, and we will start a little bit earlier actually selling those PNodes, and then they can be used immediately after that in our DevNet, where the validators work together with our PNodes. That is all super, super exciting. We're making good progress on the actual validator itself, and had some discussions also with the Solana guys, figuring out the architecture, how can it work together with Solana. And that's all something that comes at a later stage. We're building this scalable storage layer on the Solana code base first, and then see if it fits into the Solana chain in some way, if it can be adopted by the Solana validators, or if it's going to be a chain of its own, or even incorporated into some other blockchain that are out there. So that's the quick update on where we are. And now let me look into the questions here. Seems like I can't enlarge the font here. So Michael says, "Hi Bernie, thanks for the AMA." Then we have hi, and from the Algarve. though, that is fantastic. I guess you're there on vacation, likely, right? Or do you live there? So. And then every PNode needs its own IP. So that's one of the questions. I think we've asked about that. Yeah, every PNode needs its own IP, right? So at least in DevNet, that's the requirement. So you can provide more storage, and then once we're live, then obviously the rewards will be based off of how much storage you provide. But in the DevNet, we want to keep things simple, right? So there will be just a minimum amount of storage that you need to provide. If you provide more, that's great, but it won't be extra rewarded. And and you need to have an extra IP for each P node, right? So that's the way it works in DevNet. And let's collect some experience with that, right? And see how it works in mainnet. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be in mainnet, but I think it's still going to be like that. And we are going to have that proof of replication, right? So we will actually see if each and every P node is indeed a P node of its own, right? Or just like, you know, you could do what's called Sybil attacks, right? Where you kind of pose as being 7 P nodes, but in actuality, it's just one piece of hardware. And that will be, mitigated by our validator software. So we do that proof of replication to be sure that, you know, each and every P node that poses to be a one separate from all the others is actually separate from all the others, right? Hope that answers your question. All right, good evening. Thanks for the AMA. Farouk from Nigeria, welcome. I would like to ask you one thing. If you do give me permission, absolutely, just give me your question. Can you do an airdrop in the future? That's the plan, man. We have that points program. So thank you everyone for participating in the DAO. We ended up with 100% votes for that points program. And XandeumLabs didn't even cast their vote. We just, you know, held back and wanted to see what the community says. We ended up with 100% yes votes, which is just awesome. We had a lot of discussion about the points program in Discord. I love that. So that was also awesome. Thanks for you guys' engagement there. The points app is almost done, right? It's with the coding is done. All we need to do now is get permission from Google to actually check the YouTube status and see if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and stuff like that. And Google is like, they have an approval process there and they want to know so many things. So we're in the middle of that approval process with the Google guys. And I hope in the next few days, we can go live with the points app, which will be very cool. So everyone can collect points. And then the plan is to have an airdrop someday, right? And there might be some connection between the points and the airdrops, you know, to some degree, but that's all not something we are, you know, we don't have a paper for that or something like that, right? It's just a great thing of gamification to collect your points. And if we ever have an airdrop, which definitely is the plan, then yeah, we won't ignore the points that you've collected, right? So let us put it that way. All right, next one. Oh, you live in the Algarve, so Algarve or whatever. Can you explain a bit how the validators and the P nodes converge? Well, they don't really converge. They kind of interoperate, right? So that's the point of it. So the validator nodes are kind of the larger nodes. They validate each and every transaction, including the storage transactions. But the validators offload the actual storing of the data to the P nodes. And that's how the scalable storage layer comes to be, right? If the validator would do the storage themselves, then it would be as expensive as it is on Solana or Ethereum or all the other blockchains. We need a second layer, right? So it's being offloaded to smaller pieces of hardware, right? And we want to collect experience now in the DevNet. Can it really be, you know, cheap consumer grade hardware? And we very much hope that will be possible. And then have some storage devices on there like SSDs or external, internal SSDs, whatever your spare space is. And then the P nodes, the provider nodes, they will be supervised by the validator nodes, right? So the validators will send the P nodes the data that they need to store, and they will also send them regular challenges to see if they really store what they're supposed to store. on a regular basis. They will create zero-knowledge proofs for that. These zero-knowledge proofs will be logged on the underlying main blockchain, so that everything can be validated. And yeah, that's how it all works. So they interoperate tightly, and when someone builds an app on top of Xandeum, right? They have both operate. They can run code, and they have the Solana accounts, which become kind of the Xandeum accounts in our Xandeum chain. That's kind of the RAM of the blockchain, the memory. It is very, very fast, but it's limited in capacity. And then there's a second layer, right? What we're building is kind of the disk of the blockchain. We already have the memory, the RAM of the blockchain. That's the accounts system, the existing Solana account system. And then the storage will be kind of the drives of the blockchain, right? But that is readily accessible to the developer that builds a Web3 app, right? So that's what's really new and revolutionary here. It will be so easy for developers to build these Web3 apps. And yeah, the PNodes and the VNodes, they work together. We need both. We need many, many, many PNodes, right? That's why they run on less expensive hardware. Also, the license, there will be no license in mainnet required for a PNode. It's fully permissionless. But there will be a small fee to run a PNode already in our DevNet. And in DevNet, when you do that, you earn the real token, right? That's later in mainnet. And if you want to do that, you can buy one of these PNodes. It's going to be an affordable amount, below $100. And plus you need some relatively cheap hardware. Hopefully you still have it around somewhere, like an old laptop or something. It's not the high requirements that we need for the validator nodes. And then these two interact, and we're aiming at the end of the DevNet to have at least like 1,000 PNodes, better more. And once we're live in operation, it's going to be tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands PNodes, and there will be a market fee system there, right? So there will be supply and demand and storage. So the more people develop apps, the more demand is there for storage. And then the more PNodes there, the more supply is there for storage. And there will be kind of a bid auction system, as we know from advertising in Google and advertising in Facebook. It's all about auctions and advertising. So supply and demand will kind of even out there, right? And that way, as the demand grows from apps that actually need storage, prices will go up, and then there will be more and more PNodes because it's becoming more and more profitable to run a PNode, right? So yeah, that's how this system works. All right, thanks for asking that question. When is Xandeum mainnet going to be live? That's a great question. So we're building something here that has never been done before, right? And we cannot, if we would say on this and that date, that would mean we already have it done and we could just as well go live tomorrow, right? So, and that's why it's so difficult now to have all these roadmaps and stuff set in stone, right? We really, really think and hope we have something that is kind of mainnet beta type of, or even mainnet alpha type of functionality before the end of this year. And that's our goal that we're working on, but don't kill me if we can't make it. But we could also be faster, right? We really, there's so much kind of research involved in doing things that we've never done before and that have never done before on the world here, right? So it's tough to give a schedule where we can stick to. I know there's so many guys out there that say, just set a date and then stick to it, right? But yeah, it's yeah, but I gave you that kind of rough milestone, by April or so, we aim to have like a working prototype, at least on the PNode side, together with the whole a validator software. So we might be in a May, June-ish type of time frame where we might have a working prototype, right? I call that a working prototype. It might not be a viable product yet, and not even a minimum viable product, but it should be a working prototype by May, June-ish. And obviously then we need a few months. We will be in Singapore in September for the Solana Breakpoint event. I hope we can get a speaker assignment there so that we can showcase the whole solution to the world there, and hopefully launch our mainnet, around that fall, winter period that's upcoming. And that's, if everything works as we think. And since this is, it has never been done before, there can always be changes to this roadmap, right? So you'd have to understand that we're building something that wasn't there before, and it's just tough to make precise forecasts on when we do what, right? All right. Then Alan Morris, hi Bernie. When for you think you will launch the Xandeum tokens? Will it be in 2024? Yeah, that will be really in connection with the launch of the mainnet beta. So it is definitely the goal to launch the token this year, and we're doing a lot of prep work with developing everything and these type of things. But we're also doing a lot with on the legal side. So we have the Xandeum Foundation set up. We have someone now that's working for the foundation other than the managing director. So someone that knows Xandeum a lot and will be the face of the Xandeum Foundation. I don't want to give you the name right now, but stay tuned for everything. I think the name will come out really, really soon. And then we'll have someone and the foundation is located in the Cayman Islands, so that person, and we have a managing director, Mike Robinson, who's located in the Cayman Islands, and we're going to have someone that's for relations with XandeumLabs for developing everything, relations with everyone who's interested in all the programs that the foundation will set up. And we will announce the name of that person soon. So that's all important for getting the token listed. Priority right now is building the product, right? So we've been doing so much for marketing and the token and selling the tokens and the nodes and stuff like that. We just need some time now to actually build the product until this summer. And then we move again to some marketing and listing stuff and everything, and it is definitely the goal to get the token listed this year. Thanks for that question. All righty, Michael, how XandeumLabs wants to sell more founder node licenses. It might become another priority for us if we wanted to. Right now, it's actually not so much of a priority because we're focusing more on building the product right now. And then after that, listing everything, we do want to raise some more money. We're setting up a round now where private investors can buy some more Xand to help us get everything funded until we can list the token. It's not a key priority at this point in time, right? So, and we haven't seen many sales. It has to be like, it used to be, with every kind of event that we launched, and we had a deadline, and we said the earlier you are, the cheaper you get these nodes, and we haven't done these. We might do them in the future, if we do these marketing measures again, as we did in the past. We might be able to sell more founder node licenses, but at the moment it's not a big priority, right? Because we just need to build the product right now, and then we would rather focus on getting the token listed which will also give us some money rather than selling these nodes again. And we can only do so many things in parallel, and we feel like those are the priorities that we want to go after for this year. And selling more founder node licenses is not one of the top priorities for now. All right, so then we have the next. Let me use the other glasses so then I can read your questions better. But it seems like these glasses are a little bit more, they give a little bit more reflection here, so the autofocus has a little bit of issues. But yeah, so do you plan to expand the company to a validator pool like Marinade or similar, like a liquid staking pool, right? That's a great question. I'm a new validator looking for ways to attract stakes. So yeah, it seems like you're staking your sol to the Xandeum validator, the Xandeum Solana validator. We do think we want to come out with a liquid staking pool, and having that liquid staking pool with only validators that support Xandeum and give the extra rewards from the storage pools. So yeah, that's something we definitely want to do. Also by that probably late summer period. And yeah, as we approach that time frame, like July, August, September or something, we will give you more information about that. But yeah, we would definitely, I think the future of Solana is in liquid staking pools. And we would definitely do something there. Right. So Solana and Filecoin yesterday agreed to collaborate to enhance the infrastructure for decentralized data storage. Yeah, I read that. But when you actually read the full the full press release, it's like they use Filecoin to store the history of the ledger, right? And it's also, if you read Anatoly's, Anatoly, the founder of Solana, Anatoly's comments on it, this whole cooperation is about archival, and it's an archive solution to archive the ledger. It is not solving the problem that we set out to solve, giving the app developer random access storage, fast, scalable random access storage to store their application data, right? This is not what this cooperation does. So it's a great cooperation for them, and it doesn't diminish the value of Xandeum in any way, nor does Xandeum diminish the value of that cooperation in any way. It's just in a different field. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, that was the question. What does it mean for us, pros and cons? So yeah, I just answered that. Then John, it seems like a lot of new people here today. That is just awesome. I love it, man. It's not only the same old guys, right? It's a lot of new guys here. I love that, and I encourage everyone, right? Even if you're totally new and you don't know anything, and don't be shy to ask dumb questions, right? It's great to have that kind of engagement from you guys. So yeah, thanks very much. So, John Parker, will the PNodes we are on the wait list for a license for do-it-yourself nodes or a prefab piece of hardware we will buy? No, it's going to be in the DevNet. It's going to be a do-it-yourself. So you can definitely host it from home. It's not like with the validator nodes where you could host it from home, but not really. And we recommend doing it in a data center. That's how it's for the validator nodes, for the VNodes. But for the PNodes, yeah, we would actually prefer you host them from home. And yeah, it's DIY, right? So, and by the way, the first OS that we support for that is going to be Windows, right? So we definitely want to have that for Windows and Linux and Mac OS. But we were thinking, which one are we doing first? And we believe most people will probably want to do it on a Windows machine, like an old laptop or stuff like that. So we will do it for Windows first. If that's not good for you and you were planning to do it on a Raspberry Pi, so you need Linux, or you want to do it on an old MacBook or an old Mac Mini or something, please let me know, right? Let me know right here in the chat comments, or anywhere you know how to reach me on the YouTube comments or on Discord or whatever. If there's any issue there and you want us to start with another OS, we will support all three relatively quickly, right? So there will be a Linux version, there will be a Mac OS version, but we will start with Windows, right? So you can do it on an old, tower PC, on a laptop where you can have it run 24/7, things like that. And it's just a Windows app. You just install it. You have that. You can run it in the browser, right? And you can just dedicate your drives. You can create your key pair there in that web interface. You will see how much of the, say you dedicate 100 gigabytes to the Xandeum network, you will see how much will actually be used, right? And yeah, so that will come really fast, and yeah, it's gonna be DIY first, right? So there's no prefab piece of hardware. That might be something in the future, or might not. We will see. If there's a big demand for it, we might do something and sell like a Xandeum miner or something similar to what's happening in Helium. But that's not something that's in the near term on our plan. But we do need a lot of PNodes. We need people to dedicate storage to our network. So if that's something that's needed, even if it's on a Raspberry Pi basis or stuff like that, we might come up with a prefab piece of hardware. But again, that's not our first priority. All right. KB Gallery, so how to participate? Well, it's a great question, but it's super general, right? So I think we have everything on our websites on how to participate. You can run a VNode, you can run a PNode, you can get on the wait list for the PNodes, you can get into our Discord. If you go to Xandeum.com, top right, you see the Discord, you see Twitter, you see email. So use all three channels in order to not miss anything from us. You can definitely participate by buying a VNode, and you can also participate by getting onto the wait list for the PNodes. It's also all available from our website. And once you're on a wait list, you will get an email once we actually sell these PNodes, and there will be instructions on how to run it on that Windows machine. It will be a nice GUI in the browser, so it is, you don't need like a lot of command line experience or stuff like that. And just stay up to date and be on the Discord, be on the email list. That's very important. And sign up for the PNode waitlist, right? PNode waitlist is absolutely free, so get on there. And there's a VIP waitlist as well. It costs below $7, and I recommend that. I really recommend getting on the VIP waitlist for $6.90, because once we start the PNodes, you will profit off of that. You will get a big discount on the actual PNode, which is more than the $7 that you paid for that. And you will get earlier access to the actual DevNet and all these kind of things, right? So if you can afford it, I'd really recommend spending these $6.90 to get on the VIP waitlist, because it'll pay off like many X for anyone. So yeah. All right, wonders of the world. And I can also make the memory of an external hard disk available via PNode. Yeah, you say the memory of an external hard disk. I guess you mean the storage of an external disk, right? So we're talking storage here, not memory. But yeah, you can use external disks. It could be a Raspberry Pi for $35, right? You connect an external SSD with a terabyte or so. That costs you maybe $100. and make that available. Not from day one, because we start with Windows, right? So the Raspberry Pi doesn't run Windows, it runs Linux, so that might come a little bit later, but not much later. And yeah, you can use external hard disks, absolutely. They just have to be, we think they should be SSDs, so not the spinning disks, and they should have a minimum speed. And, if they're USB connected, it should be USB 3 and all these type of things, just to have that performance that we want to see from that chain. Okay. Ian Cox, in DevNet, will it be possible to run one of each from the same IP? I already run a VNode from home, but my ISP won't allow 2 static IPs. Gah. Well, the PNode could be from the same IP as your VNode, so that's not an issue at all, right? It just can't be 2 PNodes with the same IP, if that makes sense. All right. But you can just get a second ISP, right? I mean, that's great anyway, right? If one of these is down, you can still run your internet on the other one, right? Okay. So, and then we have Cornell. Are there apps in the building phase by developers? If yes, in which domain? So there are no apps being built right now other than our own demo app, which is Xandepedia. So Xandepedia is a full Web3 version of Wikipedia, right? And we will even pull the data from Wikipedia into our Xandepedia. So the Wikipedia database is 200 gigabytes without the pictures, right? I'm not talking about the media, the videos, the pictures, the audio files, just the text, right? That's in Wikipedia right now for all languages together is about 200 gigabytes. That is enough to be prohibitive on any other blockchain. If you want to store that on the Solana blockchain, it's going to cost, over $1 billion, right? So we are building that app as a demo app, and we will need a few months to build the solution and to document the solution. So there will be that developer documentation so that developers see how it all works, right? How they can build apps with the storage layer on the Xandeum chain. And frankly, I'm not really worried that we won't find any developers, right? Because that is so a groundbreaking technology, and it is so close to what all the developers know from developing apps in the old world, right? On a centralized server, you build a Web 2 app, you have memory and you have storage, and you have both, and you can move data from memory to the storage and back and forth. And everyone knows this concept. We don't have to explain it to anyone, right? Because it's been out there for decades and decades. The only thing we say is you can use this well-known programming model now to program on the blockchain. And that's why I'm not worried to find any developers that want to build on that, because they don't need to adopt anything that's radically new. The only thing that's radical new is that it's now available on the blockchain, right? And that will be, yeah. So, all right. So, next one. Hey, Bernie, I have 5 PNodes from the first ever sale. What would be the best thing I can do currently with those nodes for the benefit of the Xandeum and myself? I'm not really a techie guy. Do you mean the nodes that we actually sold in the beginning? Those are the VNodes, right? The PNodes haven't been sold yet, right? So maybe you mean you have 5 VNodes, and yeah, just keep them and harvest your rewards and claim your rewards all the time. And as we move forward, there will be lots of opportunity for you to run a physical VNode and be part of all that. But right now, you don't really have to run a physical node. You would get some more rewards if you did. But if you're not that much of a techie guy, just keep them, harvest your rewards, and be happy, I would say, and just see what's going on with Xandeum, right? There will be, You have these PNodes things that are not expensive. For every VNode owner, that bought the nodes back in the day, it'll be great to have PNodes as well, right? So get on the VIP list for the PNodes, and once PNode sales open, right? And again, it'll be below $100 for a PNode. So it won't set you back that much, right? And get your PNodes as well, right? So I think everyone who runs a node or bought a node back then, they should also have one or more PNodes. It makes a lot of sense. All right, Andy Hunter. Hey, Bernie, which node type will give the operator greater returns or bang per buck? VNodes or PNodes, which require more effort to operate. So we put some careful math into what the rewards be for the PNodes, and we want them to be in a similar range, right? And we know what the price for the VNode is right now. It's around $7,000. So and we know the return for a VNode, right? You will have 8 more years now until 2032 to earn these rewards each and every day. So that's going to be a lot of Xand over the next 8 years if you buy a VNode today. And it is still a great investment. We just haven't made any marketing actions recently to put that out to the community. But we still think it's a great way, and we still have that as the most bang for the buck. So if you have the capital to invest in a VNode, that is and will still be the best way, the best bang for the buck. It requires more effort. It requires a little bit of technical knowledge that anyone can learn, right? You don't have to be a Linux expert or something like that. We have all that community out there. I see so many VNode operators that knew nothing before that, right? So don't be afraid. You can learn it in a few days, weeks, or whatever, and you have so many guys out there that can help you with that in our Discord and all the other parts of our community. So the VNode is the best bang for the buck. It requires more effort. It requires more initial investment, right? Then we have the PNodes. They offer almost as much bang for the buck for a way lower investment and for way lower effort to run them. They will be super easy and quick. And the bang for the buck in the long run, we really don't know because we have that market system there, right? So if there's more and more demand from apps that are building on top of the Xandeum blockchain, then there will also be higher prices for the tokens that you earn by running your PNodes. And who knows, maybe in the end, that's more bang for the buck as the VNodes. But I expect the VNodes, those are the core, the backbone of the network. Everyone who's running a VNode is a super, super important part of our project. And, if you're serious about Xandeum, you should really, really consider buying a VNode and then later running a VNode. And the PNodes are, designed to give about the same bang for the buck and maybe slightly under that, right? Because you don't have that much effort, you don't have that much initial investment. So, that's how it's designed here. All right. Michael, how do you see the development of community growth? Are there some more marketing actions planned, maybe with influencers supporting projects, change to push the followers, for example, on X? So first of all, the points program is part of that, right? So everyone can earn points by just following us on X, engaging with us on X, and cooperations with other chains, with influencers is something that's on the agenda, and we're working on that in the background. it's just not a super high priority for us right now because we really feel we have a phase of a few months now where we want to build that kind of working prototype, right? And I feel that gives us so much more bang for the buck in marketing then, with influencers, with all these, with talking to other chains, when we have that working prototype, right? And that's really something that we're working on, and also selling the PNodes, getting the points program up and running. That's what we're doing on the marketing front in the next few months, and we're doing everything to get the community growth, and the community is still growing, right? So that's nice. And if you guys have any other ideas, what we can do to grow the community, let us know. One thing everyone can do is on those videos. I mean, this one is a live AMA, and your engagement is great. I absolutely love that. Lots of questions here, right? With the other regular videos, and I post 3 times a week, as you know, leave me comments, and leave me also comments in the form of questions, just as you do it here, because YouTube will push our videos to other people based on your engagement. So if you all watch them to the end, right, the whole video, that's awesome. It's called viewer retention on YouTube. And then leave comments where I can really interact with you. So I can answer your comment, and then you come with another answer, and all these type of things, right? That will show YouTube that the videos we do on this channel are engaging, and people are engaging with that. And then YouTube will push our videos to other people. And that is really the stuff that you can help greatly if you do that. And just don't be shy with any video that's coming out, not just the AMAs, right? Just leave comments there, and comments, they can be critical. Hey, I'm fine. You can be super critical with everything I say in public on the YouTube channels. And if we can get a discussion up there, that'll help us so much grow the community. Because if the YouTube channel grows, they will learn more about all the other channels. I will tell them in the YouTube channels to follow us on X, to follow us on the email list. And then they will collect the points. And honestly, collecting the points is the best thing you can do, because, yeah, just look at other projects, right? Just look at other projects and how airdrops work and all these type of things. So, yeah. That's my answer to that question. It was a great question, Michael. Thanks. Then we have Sakadangkuya, might sound a little bit Indonesian. Am I mistaken here? I'm not sure. If the project that you and your team have prepared is 100%, but the results do not match your expectations, even if only a few goals have been achieved, what steps will you take? Well, that's kind of like tough to say, right? I honestly, I work for making this project a success, and I firmly believe the project is going to be a success. There might be roadblocks, and it might take longer, but with all the potential that we see here, and with all the need for the world to have a scalable storage layer on blockchains, I would just refuse to give up or anything like that, and just make it possible one way or the other, right? And then it's a little bit like I would ask someone, what do you do if you get a diagnosis tomorrow and you only have 3 months to live, or stuff like that? And I think nobody really knows the answer to that until they are in that situation. And yeah, that's my answer. I never in my life have I been so convinced about the fact that the world needs this thing, right? And that there is going to be a huge demand. So that's why we first need to build it. We need that working prototype, because we've been doing so much for marketing and selling the nodes, and talking about all these incentives and stuff like that. We are now in a phase where we're building it. Give us until summer. to have a working prototype, and then we'll do the next steps. And yeah, I'd love to see the token listed this year, as you all do, and I'm 100% convinced that this thing is going to be a big success. And if there's any roadblocks, we'll remove the roadblocks. And it might take us a little bit of time, but we'll get there. So, all right. Cornell again, the validators in for testnet will be chosen from the actual validators in DevNet using certain criteria or how. So that's really something I can't really say much about. Sometimes when we talk inside the team, we feel like, well, maybe we should have called the DevNet the testnet. And again, right now we're building that workable prototype. And if we have testnet, if we will just rename the DevNet into testnet, and or you know, we really don't know yet, right? So any suggestions there, I'm always open. Yeah, but for now, we don't know. Okay. Kevin, hi Bernie, please, will there be a pre-sale? You know, it's like other projects have token pre-sales, right? Instead of token pre-sales, we have these nodes that are being sold. So if you go to get.xandeum.com, there's that shop where you can buy a node, right? Only thing is, since there has been such a great demand in the past, one node is now $7,000, right? But this node will generate you 50 Xand each and every day for the next 8 years. So it is basically like a pre-sale, and I can tell you probably really probably you'll never ever will get your hands on so many Xand tokens at this low price as it is right now, because the node price will go up and up. So for every 7 nodes that we sell, the price will go up by $500, right? I think it's now the last one for 7,000. Once that is sold, the next one is 7,500, right? So if you buy that node now, it's like a pre-sale, right? You will have 50 times 365. So how much is that? Let me get my calculator out here. Where is that? Oh, seems like, why doesn't this work? There should be a calculator here. Calculator. So we'd have 50 times 365 times 8 years. So that'll be almost 150,000 Xand, right? For $7,000. So now let's do that math again, right? $7,000 divided by 150,000. So that's less than 5 cents, right? That's less than 5 cents per Xand. And, you know, our goal for the listing, you know, is way higher than that, right? It's, you know, we sometimes communicated a minimum goal of 10 cents. We believe the project has made some progress in the meantime. The market has moved, so it's probably a minimum goal of almost like 50 or so, 50 cents, which will be a 10x, right? If you get them for 5 cents now by buying a VNode. And of course, there's no promises with all of these. This is just, you know, the vision that we have in our mind and what we want to do. So instead of the pre-sale, what you can do now is buy that VNode, right? And that's for you participating in the project, but you will also get these rewards, right? And you have to run a physical validator at some point in time once our network is ready. But you can probably, you know, you have an opportunity to between 10x and 100x by doing that, right? But I understand it's quite an investment at this point in time, but that's how it is, right? We had the pricing schedule, and we had, nodes sold for $2 million. So thanks again for the whole community. That was just awesome, and it has helped us so much to finance everything that we've been doing, and to finance some part of the development. But yeah, you're asking for pre-sale, so yeah, that would be the best way. Maybe if the 7,000 is too much for you, you find a few others, and you do it in a group, right? You can do it with 7 guys and something like that. Feel free to find those guys on our YouTube or wherever you are. Yeah, but that's our way of doing that pre-sale. Then after that, there are the PNodes, right? So watch out for the PNode sale, get on the wait list. And if you want to run a PNode in DevNet, you can earn Xan tokens also, right? For a lower investment, but it will be a smaller amount, of course, right? So I talked about that earlier in this video. It will be slightly less bang for the buck, but it'll be easier to participate, and it's less investment. So those are the two things for our pre-sale right now. And then as we get closer to the listing, there might be a real pre-sale as other projects do, but there might not be, right? Probably because we have these nodes and people had the opportunity to get their tokens early on. Likely there will not be a real pre-sale later on. So likely is you can buy a VNode for a relatively high investment, or you can buy PNodes for low investment and get your Xan token, and that is our way of doing our pre-sale, so to speak. All right, so Michael, will there be a staking platform or liquidity pools for Xan? That's also a great question. It has been on our roadmap. Unfortunately, we have so many things right high on our priority list that I've been talking about in this video, right? So there are so many things that we're doing at this point in time, and there might be some Xan staking, there might be the liquidity pools, likely that will come together with the listing, right? Because it doesn't make sense to have liquidity pools now while there's no market and stuff like that. And the staking for Xan is also a little bit complicated because we have that limited max supply, right? So we have guaranteed to everyone in our light paper that there will never be more than 4.015 Xan in supply. That's our max supply, and it's fixed, right? It's like Bitcoin, right? There will never be more than this amount. And I think that's great. That's great for the long-term price development. But it also means if we give you rewards on staking, well, there needs to be some more supply, right? So we just cannot create more supply to give you the staking rewards. But we might do it out of the supply that XandeumLabs already has. So yeah, likely, we want to do that. We just, the thing is, we need to have someone to implement it, and we have part of the team now super busy with building the real Xan miner, not the preview that we did some time ago, but the real Xan miner that you can install on your PNode as early as March or so, right? And then building the actual blockchain and stuff like that. But yeah, being able to stake Xan is something I would love to have. We just need to, have the resources to do it. And right now, unfortunately, we have a few things that are even more pressing and more urgent. But I hope at some point in time in like late spring, early summer, we might do that because, frankly, it's not much effort, right? We just needed to squeeze it in at some point in time. But great questions from Michael here today. Alan, hi again, Bernie. I have all my Xandeum tokens that I have accrued on the Xandeum website wallet. Is there a deadline for me to take them off my Phantom wallet, or can I just let them accrue? there's no deadline, and we're getting that question so many times, like, is it better to harvest and to claim and put them somewhere, and what's more secure? You know, you can just let them accrue. If you wanted to, everything else costs you transaction fees. But if you want to, you can harvest, you can claim, you can put them on your Ledger wallet or hardware wallet or whatever you have. Both works, and both has pros and cons, I guess. But probably there's not much of a real difference. Like, this would be advisable as compared to the other. You can just do whatever you want, and you can ask other people in Discord what they do and why they do it. But yeah, you know, if you just want to let them accrue, I think that's a perfectly fine way to do it. All right, Alan, can I send them to my hard wallet? Yeah, absolutely. So if you claim them, put them to your hardware wallet, right? That you should do that, because yeah, depending on how many nodes you have, and you know, if it's a platinum node or not, it might be some amount of Xand, and you want to keep them safe and as safe as possible. So yeah, and you don't need to transact often, right? So sometimes, like, if you have something you need to transact often, it will really be a pain in the butt to have them on a hardware wallet and everything. But with your Xand that you've harvested and claimed, you don't need to transact that often with it, right? Unless there's some staking possibility at some point. But yeah, it's definitely advisable, if and when you claim them, put them to a hardware wallet. If you don't have a hardware wallet yet, get one, right? So the Ledger wallet is the one that works well with Solana, and get yourself a Ledger wallet. All right. Raspberry Pi, ? Definitely not for a validator node, but for a PNode, a storage provider node. It is our goal to do it on Raspberry Pi. Yeah. So I don't know what the question mark means here, or maybe you're asking what a Raspberry Pi is. I mean, everyone can Google it. It's a very small computer. It only costs $35, right? You probably need the slightly larger version that costs $55, and then you need a power supply unit and stuff like that. So in the end, it's going to cost you like $100 or so. And then you need an external drive, which might be another $100. But then you have a quite cheap device that will be able to participate in the Xandeum chain and become a provider node. So that'd be awesome. All right. Yeah. Sakadang again. Thanks for the AMA. Yeah, you're welcome. And thanks for your participation. Then PNodes in my question were referred to premium nodes. Oh, okay. The platinum nodes, you mean? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I answered it that way. So yeah. So we use the word PNodes now for the provider nodes. Those are the storage provider nodes that run on smaller hardware, relatively inexpensive hardware, and you should get on the waitlist if you're not there yet, right? So if you have the platinum nodes from back in the day, get some of these. They're called PNodes as well, and get on the waitlist. All right, Alan, will there be a limit as to how much storage any one IP location can provide in the DevNet? You can, you know, there won't be an upper limit, but in the DevNet, it says there will be a lower limit. It's likely going to be 100 gigabytes. So we want people to provide 100 gigabytes at least. If you provide more, we appreciate it, but we can't give you more rewards in the DevNet because we just want to keep it simple, right? We don't want to have a lot of work with the DevNet and all the math and stuff like that, right? So there won't be an upper limit. If you want to provide us a petabyte in DevNet, I mean, we will be happy. Later on in mainnet, there won't be an upper limit either, right? So we would appreciate anyone to provide as much storage as they can, and we will have that market working for us to to, incentivize everyone to provide as much storage as there is demand for, right? And if we provide more storage than there is demand, then obviously that will have an effect on the pricing and things like that. So this will all be market driven. But there won't be an upper limit, right? And with these apps, if the apps are successful, right, that we're starting with our own Xandipedia, right, but then people will be building Web3 versions of like popular Web2 apps, and then they will be building something that's only possible in Web3, and they will store all their customer data on the Xandeum chain. So I don't expect the storage demand to go down a lot, right? When would it go down? When some app goes bankrupt and says, well, we don't do this anymore, right? I don't think it will happen that much, honestly, right? So I think, for the profitability of running the PNodes, the storage provider nodes, it will be a whole different math for profitability on the Xandeum chain as we have for all the other storage chains. Because for all the other storage chains, those are standalone. You can store stuff, you can archive stuff. Even for archival, yeah, it means probably not much storage will be deleted or so. But it's for archival, you just earn when someone wants to archive something. And when there's, next year there's less people wanting to archive something, which happens with many of these chains, then just your rewards go down, right? For us, it's just like we would need it for those apps to fail. And there will definitely be apps that fail, but the ones that need a lot of storage, right? Think about some sort of real estate app, completely Web3 driven, is launching on Xandeum. And they have like 1 million homes in there, and with their addresses and data and photos. And, if they already succeeded getting so many people to upload their data of their places into that app, it's quite rather unlikely that next day they won't need that anymore, right? It's more likely this platform will prevail in one way or the other, right? So, the demand for Xandeum, I see it more and more monotonous in rising and rising. I don't see that much fluctuation there. Of course, I could be completely wrong, but I just wanted to let you know what the plan is and what my expectation is there. All right. Then someone whose name might sound a little bit Nigerian, I'm not sure. Did you say PNode will only run on Windows for a start? Yeah, I did that. I just said we start with Windows because we had that discussion last week in Salt Lake City. So here we are. So we had a lot of meetings there, and we were saying, well, we want to support Windows and Linux and Mac OS. But we start with Windows, right? Because it's a little bit of effort to do it for each of these, and there will be all three of these supported relatively quickly, but the first one supported will be Windows, just because we feel most of you guys would want to do it on Windows, unless you tell me otherwise, right? Okay, so we're here to listen, right? We just assume that, most of you guys would want to run it on like an old Windows laptop or something like that. All right. Technology education. Wow, great. GM all. Yeah, GM everyone, right? For those of you who don't know, it's kind of that meme for the crypto community. They just say GM instead of good morning, and yeah. And they do it at all times of the day, right? Not only in the morning. Okay, premium nodes. Yeah, there were no premium nodes. They were called platinum nodes, and I abbreviate that using PT. So platinum is a chemical element, and in the table of elements, it's abbreviated as PT, right? So the official abbreviation for platinum is PT. And yeah, when we say P nodes, and there was a lot of videos about it, and everything. Our PNodes are the provider nodes, the storage provider nodes, which are different from the validator nodes, right? And both the platinum and the founders nodes, those are all validator nodes, right? And the PNodes are a completely different animal. Okay, Karen, Augustin, Bernie, I can't see my VNodes anymore on Xandeum. Is there someone I can contact? Yeah, absolutely. Just post it on our Discord. There's a support channel there, and they will help you. You will just need to connect to the same wallet that you bought them with. And yeah, our support team is out there. And if you're not on our Discord yet, go to Xandeum.com, top right corner. There's a Discord icon. Join our Discord, and then ask your question there in the support questions channel. You can even create a support ticket there. John Parker, would you consider providing boot camps or other training courses, training resources for blockchain beginners learning to build Web3 apps on Xandeum? That's an awesome question. I love to do that. Provide boot camps, provide courses. It could be just courses like the ones that you might know that are hosted on Teachable or something, consisting of videos, questions, other materials, and it might also be boot camps in like physical education. And that's something, once the working prototype is there, most of our marketing will focus on that. We will, once the product is there, the most important thing, and the node providers are there. We need a lot of PNodes, right? So get on the wait list, buy your VIP access to the waitlist, right? It's only $6.90, right? So we made it, affordable for everyone, and we made it pay back 10 times for you. I'll promise that, right? So get on the VIP waitlist. And then training resources and getting developers to build on our blockchain. That is our main priority once we have the working prototype, right? So we start in the summer having that working prototype. Hopefully we'll have these workshops in Singapore in September for the Solana Breakpoint Conference, right? There will be a side event, so you can learn it there. And we will have online courses, right? And we might have more of these in-person events, and we might have our own hackathons, right? Where we teach people to do that, and where we give grants for the best apps and all these type of things, right? So this is all super, super exciting. I'm absolutely looking forward to these times. But man, I have only one head. Our team is limited in size, and everyone in our team only has one head. So we're focusing on getting that working prototype right now. And, roughly summer is the plan for that. And as I always said, hard to predict precisely. But that's what I feel right now, and that's what's the goal. And then we get into this, right? Like, how can you build these Web3 apps with, harnessing that storage layer, right? And I'm really, really excited for that. And that's why I'm going through all this, to see startups and to see people and to see, just normal people like you and me become a startup, being among the first to build a very, very new class of blockchain apps that then have access to storage, right? And they can be full blown, just as our Web 2 apps are, right? Yeah, and we build all the resources. And the first thing, of course, is the developer documentation. So we're building these docs as we talk, right? So they are internal for now. And we're building the docs as we build the product. So these will be published in the summer, hopefully earlier, so that anyone interested in building Web3 apps on the Xandeum chain can see it in the docs, how it works. And then we have courses, we have hackathons, we have boot camps and all these type of things, right? Super exciting. And yeah, all right. Michael, click the like button. Thank you. Don't just click it, destroy it, right? And subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. John, hey, did we already go through the incentivized DevNet date as the 6 months is ending? We did, so it's going to be extended for another 6 months. The incentives will be lower, obviously, than it was for the first 6 months, and Brad will be communicating the details with you in the very near future. Yeah, I don't want to get into Brad's way here. Okay. Then Sell Things is asking, I really didn't get the chance to buy a VNode. Is it still on sale? Yeah, so it takes me a while here to go through all of these questions. I love you're posting all these questions here. Man, that is so fantastic. Yeah, they are still on sale. And I think, in answering one of the questions before you, I went into quite some detail on why I think it's still a great deal. It's probably the best way to get your hands on a lot of Xand at the best price that will be out there for some time. And yeah, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I'm happy to chat with you one-on-one or whatever, or in the public channels, of course, on Discord, and talk about these things. But yeah, they are still on sale. The URL is get.xandeum.com, right? It's as simple as that. Okay, John came in I think that's about you, John, right? You came in late. Yeah, glad you're here now. All right, inclusive music. Hi, Bernie. Phil here. Hey, Phil, good to see you. Raja Sanda, hello all, inclusive music. Hey Bernie, how are you planning to market Xandeum? I follow research-led crypto YouTube channels like House of Crypto, and they don't seem to have heard of Xandeum. Who are you partnering with? So YouTube influencers are definitely on our list. Again, it's not very high on our list. We love to talk to people if they want to talk to us right now. We have one German channel called Uptrend that we're working with, German language channel, and we had a few channels when we still had our old name, Bitoku. Had a few YouTube channels that we did work with. Sometimes these can be rather pricey, so it seems like we want to get the most out of it. And our way to make sure we get the most out of it is like first have the working prototype, right? So you see, like everything goes back to that. We want to build that working prototype so that people can really see what we're talking about, right? And that's not that far out in the future. It should be there within a few months. And then we go back into all these marketing things, and that includes influencers, right? So, but in the meantime, if you have contacts to some of these influencers, and I see House of Crypto there, honestly, I haven't heard of them yet. But if you can make a good intro there, so I can talk to them right now and let them know what we're doing and see how we could cooperate and stuff like that, I would be super grateful, right? Because in this world, the best thing is getting a great intro by someone, right? If I just reach out to them, well, first of all, we have other priorities right now. We're not in that phase where we're specifically searching out for influencers. And, I'm just one out of many for them if I reach out to them. But if any of you watching here has some contacts and knows someone personally that's running a YouTube channel or anything else that is influencing people's opinion, and you can make an introduction, I would so much appreciate that. And you know how to reach me. You can also DM me on X or DM me on Discord, or you can also choose to do it in the public channels. So yeah, so that's my answer to that question. Then John, Solana announced a partnership with Filecoin. Are you talking with Solana to get a similar relationship? Great question. So first of all, I made my comment about the Solana Filecoin relationship earlier in the video. If you came in late, you can listen to it later. And yeah, we're working with Solana to get these relationships, but it's it's not like Solana is there with open arms and just if we only had someone to cooperate with, right? And Solana is working on that kind of global state machine type of thing. They're using Filecoin now just to archive their ledger, right? And having that storage layer is kind of a different thing to them, right? It is, honestly, to be completely honest, it is tough for me to get through to these Solana guys because they want their global state machine with their Solana accounts that they have right now. They want it to be ubiquitous rather than now doing something new and doing a storage layer and having to tell a story about that. And I would be the same if I were Anatoly, right? So it's absolutely the goal. I don't know if we succeed with Solana to do that. We're also talking to individual Solana validators to adopt our software and run their like high-staked validators, like 4 million SOL or so, to do that with us. But that is all not core to our mission, right? It is core to build that new blockchain based off of the Solana code base with the added functionality of the scalable storage layer, getting our storage provider nodes on board. That is a key part of our asset, of our story, and it will be a key asset for us in any discussions with Solana, with other chains, or just standing on our own and just having you guys that have bought VNodes to run our validators, just as we're doing right now in our DevNet. And that seems to be a great path as well, right? And I've been discussing with you a lot of things that went through our minds, like how deep do we want to cooperate with Solana? One thing is also clear, right? If we have a chain that has adoption, that has the PNodes, and I think if we have the working prototype and the PNodes, I'm really not worried about getting developers on board that are building cool stuff on top of that. And once we have that, right, we can offer to partner with someone, and they might think like, the Solana validators, they could get the extra rewards from all the storage operations, or they cannot, and we can just stand on our own chain, right? And if you look at market capitalizations right now, with Jito that I was really impressed with, right? That did everything with the Solana chain. And when they got listed a few weeks ago, they were like 400 million market cap. They are now at around 200 or even below 200. There's another chain called SEI, SEI, right? They just started and got listed maybe a few months ago, 4 or 5, I don't remember, 4 or 5 months ago or so. Once they started, they had a market cap of 300 million, but that was back in the day when Solana was still at around $20 or so, right? And SEI went up all the way to $2.5 billion as a chain of its own, which claims to be as fast as Solana, but otherwise, it's tough for me to have like a reason on why that chain exists. Is there really something that's so much different from Solana and Aptos and Sui, and now we have SEI? I'm not sure. I feel like for us, the reason to exist is so clear because we're the only blockchain that has a the scalable storage layer. And yeah, having like a benchmark here with the SEI chain at 2.5 billion market capitalization without having to partner with anyone is also great, right? So no matter what our path will be, and I will make the final decision when we have the working prototype, when we have our PNodes, when we already have this and that many exabytes of storage that's running on our PNodes, right? And then we will make the final decision and also talk to the Solana guys and see if they want it, right? And I don't think we're dependent on Solana or anyone else there, and but I do think it might be great with Solana or maybe some of the other chains. Maybe it's going to be Say to cooperate. Yeah, but we'll see once we're there. And again, all our negotiating position on anything of this, with the listing, with partnerships, with influencers, with anyone, right, will just be so much better when we have that working prototype. And that's why we're focusing on that for the next few months. And unfortunately, it takes time, right? Okay. Then Guy Gosselin, hey, what makes Xandeum position itself differently compared to the existing blockchain decentralized storage systems? Thanks. I think I said that so many times, Guy, and I already said it so many times in this video, right? It's the first chain that gives the developer that builds apps on our blockchain access to both the memory of the blockchain, which is the accounts, right? They are super fast, but they can only store little data. Otherwise, you pay billions, right? And then we have another layer of storage, which definitely will be slower than the Solana accounts, hopefully still fast, right? It's like an SSD. It's slower than RAM, but it's still fast. And it has way more capacity. And, nobody else does that. And, I can explain it in like 10,000 different ways that nobody else has it, but, nobody else has it. And, yeah, you've been with this project for so long, right? And I know it might be tough to understand if you've never tried to build an app on a blockchain, right? If you've tried to build an app, you know that there's no storage, yeah? You can build an app and you can write code, and you have storage, which is the Solana accounts or the Ethereum accounts or whatever blockchain you might be building on, but you can store a few kilobytes on there. As soon as it's megabytes, it's starting to get expensive, and if it's gigabytes, you just can't do it anymore because you need billions of dollars, right? So that's how it is, and nobody is solving that problem, and it seems nobody is even trying to solve that problem. And Filecoin doesn't, and Arweave doesn't, and they have all their places, right? They're great projects. I'm not saying they are bad, but they are just not trying to solve that problem. And I think that problem is super important. Because why is blockchain there? We want decentralization. There is definitely demand in the world for decentralization because the market cap of all crypto together, I think it's larger than 1 trillion again, right? I haven't checked recently, but it's larger than 1 trillion. People buying coins and tokens for over $1 trillion only to get decentralization, right? Because you can do everything like that in centralized systems for way less money. So the only reason all these crypto projects exist is decentralization. And if we can decentralize the storage in the code, the storage that's accessed by the code, right? Other projects that just do storage, unrelated to the code, right? But we want to write, if a computer has an SSD, that SSD can be accessed by apps, right? Directly, without any complex stuff. And on blockchain, that's not possible yet, right? So the moment we have that, it is so new, but it will readily be understood by any developer because they've been developing like that on normal computers before, right? So suddenly blockchain really becomes a world computer, not a crippled world computer like Ethereum or Solana, stuff like that, because those are world computers that can only run code and only have memory, but they have no storage, right? It's not a real world computer, right? So yeah, that's what it is. I said it again, Guy, and yeah, I feel like I've explained it like 1,000 times already. Okay, Michael Hill, joining late, sorry. I know each PNode will require its own IP. can that IP be the same as a VNode? Yes, it can. Yeah. So there was one other question before that. So you can have one IP and run both a VNode and a PNode from that, but you cannot run multiple PNodes from one IP. Received my Xandeum hoodie and t-shirt right now. Awesome. I love these hoodies, man. Honestly, they are awesome. I can recommend them all. And we have hats and all different sorts of products. So just go to Xandeum.com and go to our merch store there. So you'll find it on the Xandeum website. And we have so much cool merch there. And we do a small profit off of these, right? And obviously the provider that we use for that, they also have their prices, but there's a profit on these for us, and you are supporting the project with that, right? So any profits that come out of that go directly to fund the development of the Xandeum chain. So thanks in advance. But hey, this merch is really awesome, right? All right. John, Raspberry Pi 5 is $100 without a power supply. Okay, I wasn't on the Raspberry Pi 5 train yet, so I was on Pi 4. So the Pi 4 with, I think, 8 gig is 55 and something plus power supply. I didn't know about the Raspberry Pi 5 yet, but the 4 should probably even do it. But yeah, then the 5 is $100, but still it's inexpensive stuff compared to other computers. All right, Bengt. No, I just wondered if it was possible to run a node on it, and I think you were answering it. I think they use very little power too. Okay. Hello, Michael Hill. People will pay a fee to store data. Can you describe how the fee is distributed between a PNode and a VNode? That's an awesome question. So it'll be distributed by a schedule that can be set. And between the VNodes and the PNodes, we will have a fixed schedule there. But then also, each of the PNodes and the VNodes can set a commission rate. And we have that with the Solana validators also, right? So if you go to sites like StakeWiz or so, where you can see all the Solana validators, they can all choose how much commission they take, right? So you can choose to take more fees, but maybe get less business because less people will stake with you, right? And we will do something similar to that with the VNodes and PNodes, but we haven't figured out the last details there yet. It will be a market-driven system, right? So the rewards the PNodes will get, they will be dependent on how many PNodes there are, right? So also the VNodes get the request from the app, store me that data. Then the VNodes will find some PNodes that are able to do that. The VNodes also know the performance of the PNodes, right? Because the VNodes are the one that are supervising the PNodes and see how fast do they give a response. Have they in the past responded to all the challenges that we sent them? All these type of things. So then the VNodes will make some bid for some PNode to store that data for them, right? And you as a PNode can accept that bid or not, right? So it will all be a market-driven system. And in times where, PNodes are scarce, there will be more of these fees go to the PNodes because they are scarce, right? Once there's a glut of PNodes and, there's more PNodes there than the network actually needs, that might change, right? So we're using that market fee model to balance supply and demands between actually storage demand in the apps and VNodes and PNodes, right? And that's the way it has to be, because otherwise, there will always be imbalances with all these three things. And if we'd have to manage that manually or setting some prices and stuff like that. It's crazy, right? And that's why, like Google, when they implemented their advertising, they decided to do it in an auction model, which is another word for, market fee driven system. And the same for Facebook advertising and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what it is. So now somehow something happened to my chat here because it's not moving. Oh, now it's moving. Okay. Now it is moving. John Spence, no Windows, Linux all the way. I love you, John. I would do it like that also. But yeah, I just suspect many people do Windows. And man, you live in the Seattle area, right? So man, Microsoft should be whatever. Yeah. Yeah, Inclusive Music says we up Windows. If the validator needs to be Linux, stick with it. Yeah, but for the PNodes, we want to really support 3 platforms, right? Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, because it's gonna be running on like client devices, right? And it'll be GUI driven, so you definitely need a GUI to do all that. Yeah, Windows only increases tech debt and threat security. That's true, but it's critical for us to have a lot of people, non-techie people, run these PNodes, right? And it's going to be a web-driven app anyway. So all the like GUI-enabled part, that'll be easy to port, but there will be kind of a system service, right? On Linux, it's going to be a systemd service, obviously. And on Windows, I don't know what these things are called, but there are system services on Windows also, and system services on Mac OS. And that might take a while to do it for all 3. But yeah, we want to go all 3. And what I've heard from the community so far is Windows is definitely the one that people have stuff lying around, and every Windows comes with a GUI, right? So some of the Linux things might just have a headless system installed on it. But maybe, let's see how many comments we get here from other people. Maybe we even ask the community to do a Discord poll or anything like that. But, I love the way you think about it, and I would have said the same. And we sat together with 4 people in Salt Lake City yesterday and discussed it. And the other 3 kind of convinced me that, we need 1,000 PNodes, right? And it'll be tough to find 1,000 techies that are comfortable with Linux command line, right? Most people are just want to do it with their Windows GUI, right? Okay. Jan Witkop, thank you, Bernie, for the awesome AMA. I am really impressed with the development of Xandeum so far. All the best. Thank you. All right. Then banked again to put up nodes in different environments. Easy lock at Docker. There you can start up many processes on one machine. Yeah, we might look into Docker. Yeah. Thanks for the tip. But I think, yeah. Okay. So then Don, I have a validator nodes. How do I make the most use with them, benefiting both Xandeum and myself? If you have validator nodes, you can run them physically in our DevNet. We have that incentivized DevNet. If you haven't heard of it, go to Xandeum.com into our blog, right? There's blog posts about the incentivized DevNet. It's expiring by the end of this month. We were doing it for 6 months, but it will be extended, right? Somebody asked about that. There will be an extension, and Brad will be giving out that info really soon. So And that's the best, you can make the best use. You can get extra rewards by running that physical validator in our DevNet. And for us, it's super, super valuable because we need that DevNet to develop our system, to, have a better position towards investors, partners, influencers, everything, right? So it'll help us greatly if you run a physical node with the validator license that you have. And there will still be incentives for the next 6 months. They will be a little bit lower than the ones that we had the past 6 months, but it's still there, and you still have rewards that you can count on for the next 6 months, extra rewards, if you run a physical validator. That's the best thing we can do, you can do with them. Reach out to our Discord if you don't know how to do it or stuff like that. Support questions, open a support ticket. We will be happy to guide you through everything, and help you get your node up and running. Awesome. The Prosperous Water. Hey, Bernie, are you hiring Solidity developers? Unfortunately not. So we're doing everything Rust at this moment. But yeah, if you, we're doing Rust, right? So that's all I can say. Happy to, if anyone wants to reach out, become a developer here. And what I can also say in this video here is, we are more and more looking for at least one experienced developer locally here in Las Vegas, right? So if you're located anywhere else, you want to relocate to Las Vegas, we might help you in relocation, but we want to have someone here physically with us that is an experienced developer, knows about blockchain, doesn't shy away from looking into the code of the validator, right? Not just building apps for blockchain, but looking into how a validator actually works, doing all these things. And if this person can also look into what the rest of the team is doing, it doesn't have to be a manager, right? It's mostly a developer that we're looking to, but it needs to be a person that has some authority and can talk to the rest of the development team as well and give them some technical guidance, right? So if you know anyone, if you want to be that person or stuff like that, just reach out to us. There, you can use the email address careers@xandeum.com, and reach out to us. We will have an official job posting for that soon, but this is a serious request here that we have. We absolutely want to be not only offshore, but have a technical person, like a technical lead, a developer that can be a technical lead, right here locally in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we help with relocation. And reach out to me if you know anyone. All right. On it, thanks for the AMA. Hello. Toncoin is Solana go to invest now? Not sure what that question means. If Solana is going to invest in Xandeum, or I don't think that's on the agenda. Short term, it might happen, and we might participate in some other hackathons or talk to Solana Ventures and stuff. But all of that is not our first priority right now. The first priority, absolutely, for the next few months is building that working prototype so that we have something that we can show off. And then we do all the next steps. All right. Al Morris, when do we need to run our validator nodes? Will that be with mainnet? Yeah. So as set out in the original light paper, right? And that's all still true. There will be some point after mainnet goes live where we will ask all the existing node owners that bought validator nodes back in the past, we will ask them to run their own physical node, right? And that's at some point at the future, and then they can keep earning their nodes. Some of them might not want to do that for some reason. And, once time comes and once we approach that date, we will come up with an offer for those that don't want to run physical nodes. And what that offer contains, we will figure that out once we're there, right? Because once we're there, we have all the facts, right? We know how difficult or easy it will be to run actually one of these nodes. And we will know so many other things and what are the exact requirements and so on and so forth. And with all that information at hand, we will make an offer for those that have bought VNodes but don't want to run physical VNodes, right? So there will be an offer for these, and most likely that offer will be a DAO vote, right? I feel like that's something everyone who owns nodes and owns and should have a word in that decision. So we will figure out an offer and get it through the DAO and work with that. So that's the plan on this question here. Then is there already a launch date for the Xandeum token? That question was asked before, right in this video. So once you've watched it to the end, just start watching it from the beginning. There was someone else who's asking the same question, and I was giving a quite detailed answer on that. I just don't want to repeat it here right now. Okay, inclusive music, Phil again, Bernie. What's to stop a big wealthy tech company taking your idea and getting to market before you? Well, that's a question, everyone's asking. It hasn't happened so far. It seems like people can't imagine this. They are all busy with their stuff, right? And we are building a moat. And our moat, honestly, is you, the VNode owners and VNode operators, but and also and maybe especially the PNode operators, right? And we're building that as fast as possible. And that's why, building the technology and the network of PNodes is so important to us. Because once we have 1,000 PNode providers, which is actually not much, because a PNode is, we have a license in DevNet that costs, below $100, and the hardware is relatively cheap. So we feel we can get to 100 PNodes, and then we have exabytes of storage there, and we can use it with our Xandipedia app, right? And for large companies to get there, they have resources, but they still need time. They still need time to build it, and they need time to get their PNode community and their VNode community and all that, right? So that's why we're building that in parallel as we're building the product, right? And that is it's called an economic moat, right? So that's a term that Warren Buffett has coined, and it's like the moat is like that moat that castles can have or so in order for intruders to not get through. And that's our moat. And we're building that as we're building the product. And, the same question can be asked for any startup, and it rarely ever happens, just because we are 100% focused for this one vision, right? And large companies have so many things on their agenda, and even Solana has so many things on their agenda. And it rarely ever happens, but still we have that risk on our radar, and we're building that moat that I was talking about, right? Okay. John again, so you're looking for a back-end developer in Vegas. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, back-end, yeah. Backend seems to be more a term of the, like if you have an app that has front end and back end, and yeah, we're using that blockchain developer, right? That's actually working on the validator itself. And usually, every developer that's competent in that area knows a little bit or roughly how other stuff works and how front ends work and web apps and stuff. But yeah, if you want to call it back end, I would more call it like a blockchain developer, I think. And yes, yeah, that's absolutely true. So yeah. Don, thanks, Bernie. We'll reach out to Brad to help me with running the founders nodes. Yeah, that's great. Great AMA session. Yeah, thank you, man. I'm happy. It's 1 hour 45 minutes now. So that's awesome, and it feels like I just started, and it's so much fun discussing with you guys and see all the engagement and stuff like that. So thanks again. Because I keep saying all the time, you guys are just the best community in the world, right? So, yeah, and I'm so thankful for all of that. So, yeah. So now, yeah, I wanted to have some confetti here. That's why I was looking for something, but for some reason it doesn't work here right now. Yeah, usually I have the option here to do the confetti thing, but not right now for some reason. Okay, good. But I had the applause here. I had the applause a few times, and the real applause is for you guys and for the community. So here we go, right? And honestly, this is a really, really honest thank you, right? Because man, we have over 60 physical validator nodes running in our DevNet. We have 1,600 members in our Discord. Things are going on in our Discord. We're really discussing things. We discussed a lot of things with the last DAO decision, right? And I just want to mention John here, who brought up a few questions that just needed to be asked, right? Even though they weren't so comfortable for me in the beginning, but they needed to be asked, and they incited, is that the right word? Engagement from other guys that then put their opinion out there. And it is really an awesome community, right? And going out there and actually running a DevNet node and spending money for a server and figuring out how to install this software and stuff. It's not easy stuff. I mean, you guys are doing a lot. You're sacrificing a lot of your time and your money for this project, and it is just fantastic, right? And we keep continuing that path, getting our PNode community, which will be very, very soon a big moat of ours against copycats, right? Because it takes time to build a community, and it also takes time to build software, even if you like the idea and want to do it. And also, obviously, you need a management team that's just determined to make this vision a reality, right? And there's so many people out there, and everyone has their own visions, right? So, okay. Great AMA. Thank you, people, for the questions. Thank you, Bernie, for the great answers. Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you. Then the Wise Unicorn. Sorry, I was late to join, but I'm here. Awesome. I'm a PNode holder, not a VNode yet. I am not a techie. I just hold my PNodes for now, or can a non-techie guy get help to do something with my PNode? So here again, we've had that before in this call here. The PNodes actually haven't been on sale yet. We just have a waitlist for them. The PNodes are our provider nodes, the storage provider nodes, right? So what you likely have is either a platinum node or a founder node. And both of these are considered VNodes, validator nodes, right? Now, we just, introduced that term. If you bought like many months back, you just thought like it's a founder's node or a platinum node, right? Maybe you mean a platinum node when you say PNode, right? So platinum, we call that PT. That would be a platinum node, right? We don't abbreviate it at all. It's a platinum node. And the platinum node is a kind of validator node, right? So everything you bought in Node Store in the past, those are all VNodes, validator nodes, right? If you don't want to run the technical vNode in the DevNet, that's fine. Just keep them, harvest your rewards, claim your rewards, store them safely in a hardware wallet, and that's absolutely fine. And stay up to date with everything we're doing, right? And support us on social media. Watch every video to the end. Leave me comments, just as you do here with the AMA. That's the best thing that you can do to make it a great community and to help raise the get the most value out of everything here. Wonders of the world, great AMA. Many thanks to you, Bernie, and the great Xandeum team. And yeah, it's really a great Xandeum team, right? It's not only the community, but also the team, and part of it came with me to Salt Lake City. We took this photo yesterday here at Mountain Dow, which was a great thing up there in Salt Lake. And yeah, Wise Unicorn, watch from the beginning. Thanks, definitely do that. John, Bernie, as an avid user of Cloudflare services, have you looked into the Web3 services? Specifically, have you considered reaching out to start that relationship early? Honestly, I have not, so maybe we can discuss that one-on-one or in some Discord channel. I'm also an avid Cloudflare user, as you know, also a Cloudflare shareholder. So, and yeah, if there's anything we can do with them and whatever they do in Web3, I've heard about that like a little bit. They just provide like RPC services or connect to the blockchain or stuff like that. It might be a great idea to actually start that relationship early. It wasn't on my radar yet. Yeah, let's discuss it. Then they only support the Ethereum blockchain right now. Yeah, okay, yeah. So we can maybe get them to consider other chains as well. Inclusive music, Bernie, I have some VNodes. I don't have the expertise to become a validator. How can I advertise your platform to attract a joint venture partner? So if you know anyone like influencers or so, I'm always happy to get intros. So if you can introduce the project to anyone that you feel could be beneficial to us, that would be great, right? It could be via email or via Telegram or something. You can just send a message to both the guy that you think can be helpful to us and send it to me as well. And then just say, hey, I know Tom from this way, and I know Bernie from the Xandeum project. I've been working with them for a year or so. And we think it can be, or I think it can be a mutually beneficial relationship, and please guys take it from there. And then usually if I get an intro like that, I can reach out to these people and we just discuss if it makes sense or not. And it could be, an influencer, it could be a blog, it could be some sort of publication. It could be another project that might cooperate with us. So yeah, that would be one way I can imagine that you could help us. Wise Unicorn again, that's it. Bought the original Platinum nodes, okay. Yeah, I figured that right now through this AMA, right? When I talk about PNodes, and then many of the guys that bought the Platinum nodes back in the day, they think like when I say PNodes, I mean Platinum nodes. So we'll have to make that a little bit clearer, I feel. Alan, can I set up and run my Validator node at home on a computer or laptop? You can if you have a good internet connection, right? So I think we have the minimum requirements set up somewhere on the Xandeum website. If you go to xandeum.com, then go to our blog, and then you find the announcement of the incentivized DevNet. And in that announcement, there is the requirements in the bottom there. So if you have great internet And if your internet, doesn't degrade when your family watches Netflix on Saturday evenings or something, then you could do it at home, absolutely. And I think some guys are doing it at home, and it works perfectly fine. But many do it with like a hosted server somewhere in a data center. All right, nice one, Bernie. Thank you. And then Wise Unicorn, awesome team photo. Thanks, Bernie. I do watch YouTube videos, and thumbs up. Thank you. That's great. Everyone, please keep doing that. And what I also mentioned earlier in this AMA, what really helps is the YouTube comments, right? Just don't be shy. Don't be shy to think, oh, Bernie will not like that question or stuff like that. It can be controversial. It can be just a question. It might even be a question that you already know the answer to, but you just want to hear it again from me or see if my opinion has changed or something like that, right? So if you put something like that in the YouTube comments, then I can respond and we can have a dialogue that ping-pongs a few times when we discuss some things. That's when YouTube thinks, oh, this is a channel where things happen that engages people. And then YouTube pushes it into other people's feed without us having to pay for advertising, right? So, and that's what will be making our channel really, really successful, right? That's how you can help. The YouTube comments are so important, right? And don't overthink it, right? It's just the same as with Twitter. Don't overthink it. Just write literally anything, right? And I appreciate all the like, hey, great video, Bernie. I love these, and I respond to all these and give my heart to these. But it would be even better if it's something that we can discuss about, like a question, just like the things you do here, right? You just in the next normal video, that's not an AMA, just leave me comments like that we can get into a discussion to. And that'll make the YouTube channel so much more successful, right? And that'll help us get more people on board, because YouTube will just find new people that haven't heard of Xandeum. They'll push our videos into their feed. They learn about Xandeum. They go to the Xandeum website. They might buy a PNode, a storage provider node. They might run a PNode and all these or they later, when the token is listed, they might buy Xan tokens. And that's the guys that we need, right? Because someday all of us want to sell some Xan tokens through the exchanges, but in order for that to work, we need people on the other end that buy them, right? And the YouTube channel is a great means to get these people, right? And for that, I need your help with the YouTube comments. I love your watching all these. Please always watch them to the end, right? That's also super important. And just leave comments that engage, that can create a little bit of a discussion back and forth. I enjoy that, even if it's the same stuff that we've discussed so many times, but let's just do it again in the comments of the YouTube videos just to show that engagement. It is so important, right? And the YouTube channel is an important part of our strategy. And the comments are the most important part now. That's missing on the YouTube channel, right? Okay, awesome photo, thank you. Heard from Investment Mastery, there's an airdrop coming up. How can I participate? You can just sign up for everything, right? For our Twitter account, for the email list, and for the Discord, right? You find all three on the Xandeum.com website, top right. Sign up for all three there, right? And once everything, once the moment nears when there's an airdrop and all these type of things, probably by fall time, right? You will hear from us and on all of these channels, right? So I promise you, you can't miss it, right? Once there's an airdrop out there, you won't be able to miss it. Yeah. And it's obviously it's going to be on the Xandeum website, front and center, and everything. And in order to participate in the airdrop, one thing you can do right now is collect points, right? So we will have the points app live in the next few days. We're only waiting for Google to approve it. Otherwise, it's all done. And once the points app is out, you can collect points, and that puts you in a great position for many things, and likely also including the airdrop. So when you comment on YouTube, when you reply to our tweets, and like our tweets, like our YouTube, that all will give you points, right? And that'll help you in the airdrop. And then now, obviously, if you run a node or buy a node and so that will give you a lot of points, right? So, yeah, that's the best thing you can do. Happy to hear that that Dennis communicated that also with the airdrop. That's great. So when I listen to you and read the chat, I feel like the dumbest person in this project. Go Bernie, all right. You're likely not. You're honestly, and stay in the community. Talk to so many people. Ask dumb questions in the Discord and here in the AMA. And we're really a welcoming community. We're not something that only wants the smartest and most Linux and experienced and stuff like that. It's going to be for everyone, and we want to touch the lives of billions of people, and that can not only be the tech experts, right? So we welcome everyone, and we're happy to help. So especially on the Discord, if you have dumb questions, ask them there. But also ask them here, right? It's a great opportunity on maybe the next YouTube video. That's not an AMA. Just ask your question in a comment on the video, even if it's a bit unrelated to what's the subject or the topic of that next video. Just ask your questions there. I can answer them there, and that gives us valuable engagement on the YouTube channel. It is so important. All right. I have great internet, so maybe I can use mine then. Yeah, okay, let's do... I mean, there's someone else. I think it was Alan Gregerson. He doesn't seem to be on the AMA today. He's done it from home, and there were some months where he just didn't get many rewards because the internet just deteriorated. If you have like the consumer grade internet, you need to do every transaction right. With consumer grade internet, it's like great most of the time, but sometimes it's a little bit slow and stuff. So I just want to make clear, you might not get the best rewards with home internet unless it's like a business grade type of thing and it always is constant. But consumer internet tends to fluctuate in their throughput and everything. So maybe you reach out to Alan Gregerson on the Discord, ask him with his experiences. It is possible, right? But just, data center internet just seems to be of more predictable quality than the consumer internet. Okay. So great internet, maybe I can use mine. Okay, let's do that to boost engagement, even if I don't know what question to ask. No overthinking. Yeah, man, just ask any question, right? It's, yeah. Andreas T., schöne Grüße aus Hessen. Sobald ich genug Geld habe, hole ich mir ein Node. All right, so I'll translate that to English. He says, greetings from Hesse, Germany, and as soon as he has enough money, he's going to buy a node. All right. PNodes on Windows and iOS. PNodes on Windows and iOS, voting for going full containerization on that. All right. Is that the Docker logo there? I think so. Yeah, let's think about it. That's all great input, right? Yeah. I think with actually running a PNode on iOS might be difficult because it's gonna use a lot of CPU and stuff like that. So, as far as I know, Apple's rules there. If we drain the battery because it's using a lot of CPU, then we might not get approved. So we were thinking Android, by the way, definitely as one of the platforms we support. But we just need to get started somewhere, right? And yeah. Andreas, how much will be a PNode? It will be less than $100, right? If you get on the VIP waitlist, it'll be way, way cheaper for you than for anyone else. So it'll pay off. You will get back. You will save more than the $6.90s that the waitlist costs. So if you're really considering getting a PNode, get on that VIP waitlist. You'll find out through the Xandeum.com website, or you can ask questions on Discord. There's also a German channel on the Discord, so you can ask a question there. And and get on the paid VIP list, $6.90, and then after that you can get your PNode once the sale starts within a month or two, or hopefully sooner. You can get your PNode for significantly less than $100. Okay. Xandeum is truly inclusive. Thanks for that. And John, VNode tech requirements, hardware from the 6 months of data you have collected. Are the VNode requirements going to be similar to Solana mainnet? They probably are going to be similar, yes. John Spence, hosting through DSL seems to be the roughest. Fiber seems to be the best way to go. 1 gig plus plan. Thanks for that, John. Yeah, that's definitely true. Michael, I use a virtual server and it works perfectly for me as a non-techie. Check out the Discord channels for great offers. Okay, awesome. Alan Gregerson, he's here, and run from my house. Yeah, but it wasn't without hurdles, Alan, right? So I heard there were some issues. Don't know, maybe now it works better. I just wanted to not set the expectation that whatever your home internet is, you'll be great, right? Some of them work, others might not. And as John said, use the fiber instead of the DSL. Use a big plan, 1 gigabit plus. But still, I have 1 gigabit here with Cox in my home in Vegas, and on Saturday nights, it's maybe 30 gigs download, and upload is super slow. So when I upload my videos on a Saturday night here to have it live on the upcoming Sunday, it's super slow, right? So everyone's internet is different. Just wanted to mention that. All right. Michael Hill, like the VNode, is there an absolute limit on the number of PNodes? It is actually not. So once we go live with the PNodes, in DevNet there might be. So we're aiming for 1,000. If we get 1,200 or 2,000, it might be great. But at some point we just might stop it. But we don't have a hard upper limit. But then once we go into mainnet, there is no upper limit. And it all depends, since the pricing is through a fee model, like a market-driven fee model. As soon as the demand goes up with apps that are being built, storage-enabled apps that are being built on the Xandeum chain, also then the price, the rewards for the PNodes tend to go up. That means we will get more PNodes. And we think, once everything's live and Xandeum is being adopted by so many apps, there's going to be 100,000, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of PNodes that drive the global economy of storage-enabled Web3 applications. That's the vision, and I think it'll be, 7 figures number of PNodes within a few years from now, right? So, yeah, but no hard limit. It'll just be if we have more PNodes than there is demand on the side of the apps, then rewards might go down, and there might be less people coming up with new PNodes because the profitability is a little bit lower. But once the demand picks up again, prices go up again, people come up with more PNodes, right? It's all market driven. All right. Then next one, John Parker, is the waitlist sufficient for multiple PNodes? I have 3 high-speed connections. Yes, it is, absolutely. I would just recommend, since we don't have it in our systems right now, I would just recommend use 3 email addresses, sign up with 3 email addresses, and get on the wait list with each of those, and then you can buy a PNode from each of these 3. All right, John Parker, FiOS 500 has been perfectly stable for a VNode so far. Yeah, 500, there's no FiOS here in my area, neither in San Diego where I used to live, nor here in Vegas. But I've heard of them, and 500 sounds awesome, right? So all the internet I was being offered here was asymmetrical, right? It's like a 1 gig and then maybe 50 upload or something like that. If you have a 500 symmetrical, wow, that's great. That's enviable. All right. John gave me that icon. Okay. That's for the 500, I guess. All right, then Wise Unicorn, Alan G, maybe I can reach out to you on Discord to ask more about your journey. Absolutely. That was my point. And then John, I ran a validator from the house for about the first month or so, switched to the cloud, and haven't looked back. Yeah. All right, so now it's over 2 hours. Questions keep coming, so I'm fine here. You can keep going for a few hours. I'm happy to answer everything. So where are we now? I ran about it from home. Okay. And then Alan Morris, will the rewards for PNodes be in Xandeum like the validator? Yes. So we aim to have like one currency for everything that will then get listed. I'm not saying it's written in stone, but that's our goal. So if we can achieve that, right, both technically and from all the market mechanisms and stuff, we don't want to confuse people with so many different tokens, right? So if we ever do a liquid staking pool, there will be a liquid staking token, so that will be a different token then. But we don't want to have 1,000 different tokens. So we aim to do everything in one, and accept the liquid staking token, of course. And I think we can do that. We haven't seen any showstopper on why we couldn't. So yeah, it'll be all in Xandeum. And obviously that also means you have a price risk, right? So for the apps that need storage, they pay in Xand, and the price of Xand might fluctuate, right? And for the ones that provide the storage, they get paid in Xand, and it might also fluctuate. That's just the way it is. And we understand there are people that need some sort of predictability, right? So if you do a HELOC on your house, that's usually variable, right? The interest rate can change like each and every day. But you can also do like a 15-year fixed or a 30-year fixed or something like that, and then the interest rate will be fixed for that period of time, right? So we will be building a framework for external third parties that can offer you some, okay, I buy this and that much storage for 3 years and I pay it up front in 3 years, and then they take the risk, right? So there's almost a lot of financial services companies that take away some risk for you, right? Risk in currency exchange rates, risks in commodity prices, right? It's called the futures market, risks in interest rates, and all these type of things. And you might be able to have that predictability if you wanted to. You just pay a mediator there that takes away that risk for you, and obviously they charge a risk premium then. And then it's everyone's choice, do you want it, be able to fluctuate and take the risk yourself? Or do you want someone to take that risk away from you? And are you willing to pay that premium, right? But internally, everything works in Xand, and everything's dynamic, right? And likely all pricing for storage and so might change every epoch, right? And an epoch is like 2 days or so, right? So with changing market conditions and, every epoch, we could have new validators on the chain and stuff like that, right? It stays the same for one epoch. And then every new epoch, there's a new set of potentially new set of validators, potential new set of PNodes and all that kind of stuff. And the market will adapt every epoch, but there will be external providers that take that risk for you if you don't want to take it on your own, on both ends, right? For the PNode providers and also for the storage apps that create the demand for the storage. All right. Great question, by the way, Alan. So Michael Hill, is there value in having more than one PNode, or is it better to add more storage to an existing PNode? In DevNet, you will only be, if you want to run a PNode in our DevNet, you will only get rewards for 100 gigabytes, right? You need to provide at least 100 gigabytes, and you only give the rewards for that. So if you give us 200, we say thank you, but we will only give you reward in DevNet, only give you rewards for 100, right? So in DevNet, there's no point in adding more storage to your node. You could do more nodes, but you will need it from different IP addresses. In mainnet later on, that's also a great question. It will mainly be dependent on the amount of storage that you provide. There might be a slight premium on having it on more numbers of nodes, because that just adds redundancy, not only for the storage but also for the CPU that's connected with it. But that will only be a slight advantage, right? So it'll if you add another terabyte to the same machine, it'll pay almost as much extra as you doing another node and giving and putting the extra terabyte there, right? So it'll be a small premium to add more nodes, but it'll be mainly based on the amount of storage, because that's what we need, right, in mainnet. Okay, then Abdu, I already got my validator license almost a year ago and purchased a spot for the PNode waitlist. That's great. Thanks. And next step is running an actual validator starting from March 1st. Love from Algeria. All righty. Oh no, I wanted to do this one. Yeah, thanks. And love that, and love having someone from Algeria here. That is so fantastic. All right. Michael Hill, yeah, I meant mainnet. Okay, yeah, I explained mainnet also. Abdu, reach out on Discord if you run into issues. Lots of help there. Thanks for letting him know, John. Wise Unicorn, I minted my Xand. Yeah, it's Xand with an A. The Xeno is the Xandeum early node owners, right? XENO. ENO is early node owners. That's the NFT. Yeah, you minted the Xeno NFT. Got it months ago. But now it's not there in my Phantom wallet. I only have the Bitoku Founders NFT. Got a spinning circle processing. I don't know if you really minted it. Has it been in your wallet already? Did it go missing or something, or did it never go through? Just reach out on our Discord, create a support ticket, and Brad and or Kaveen might help there. I've already heard that thing where it was on processing for a long time. But if you've already got yours, then you can't get it again, right? Then we just need to find it in some wallet. Maybe you accidentally transferred it somewhere or something, or just your wallet might not show it. Sometimes that also happens. On the Phantom wallet, there is like show hidden sets or something like, because Phantom is hiding some NFTs that it doesn't recognize. It might be one of these, but support can help. Just reach out on Discord. Okay. Yes, it was my Phantom wallet. Hadn't looked at Phantom wallet for ages. Yeah, there are hidden ones. Maybe it's in the hidden ones, but otherwise, if not, our support is happy to help. John Parker just got 2 more PNode VIP spots. Awesome. Thanks for that. By the way, if you're interested, we offer 2 payment options, credit card and USDC with crypto wallet. Any guesses on how many % of our users use which payment method? I'll just wait a minute here. I'll wait for you guys to put in some guesses here on the on the AMA chat here. Okay, so 20% crypto. Yeah, give me some more guesses here. John, what do you think? John Spence, John Parker, what do you think? Uh, 90% credit card. Okay. Alan, the Allens, Alan Gregerson, Alan, what was the other Alan here? Just give me your guesses here. Yeah, nobody's making any more guesses here. It's about 50-50. I was surprised, right? It's really 50% that use the USDC payment method. We chose to pass through the fees that we have with credit card payments, and actually the 50 cents or so that we're charging doesn't cover it, especially if people coming from other countries, there's the extra international fee and stuff like that, so there's some more. And we thought it's so easy for people to just pull out their credit card and it might be saved in the browser and stuff like that. But no, 50% actually do it with USDC, and I'm surprised. That's great. Great to see. Oh, there are some more guesses here. Yeah, maybe they came in slow here for me to see. Yeah, 50-50 is correct. And Visa is looking at the Solana chain to process that transactions. Absolutely. Shopify is supporting Solana Pay, and everyone. So that'll make sense. Yeah, so I think it's almost 2.5 hours, man. That's the longest, the longest AMA that we ever had, and I think let's just call it a day for now. We probably, if I stayed here and would ask you for more questions, probably we could do it for another few hours. But it was fun, man, and thank you so much for your engagement. And yeah, maybe I'll just get back into the habit of doing an AMA once a month. I'm happy. I saw so many new guys here. I saw so many guys from cool countries. So the Algarve is Portugal, I assume. There's probably Algarves in many countries, but the one I know that's kind of the real Algarve is the Portuguese one. So I assume you mean that one. And one guy from Algeria, which is awesome. One guy from Nigeria. And we want to be a chain that has also geographical decentralization. We want people from all these countries, and also India, Indonesia. I saw some people, their names sounded a little bit Indonesian to me. I think they didn't reply if they're really from Indonesia. And that's all great. And yeah. So thanks so much for watching, and remember, for next time, watch all of the videos to the end. Give me the like button and give me comments that I can kind of start a discussion with, right? Just use the stuff that we've already talked about, right? And you might know my answer from a month ago, but you just want my current view on it, and just don't be shy, and don't overthink it, right? That the comments are really what makes the YouTube channel fly. It is so important, right? All righty. Thanks, guys, for everything. Super, super grateful. And catch you guys later in the next video on Tuesday. Awesome. Peace. Bye.